Well, Verona's 20-year-old goalkeeper Angelo Peruzzi has already defied Milan once this season in a goalless draw in the San Siro Stadium. He has two South American defenders in front of him, Sotomayor and Gutierrez. In midfield, the Swedish international Robert Pritz, alongside Pietro Fanna, who was in the Verona side which won the championship 5 years ago. And the great news for Milan and for football fans everywhere, Ruud Gullit is named today as a substitute. He's not played since last season's European Cup final. And if it's going well for Milan, we understand he will be used. Most of these players had to endure extra time against Bayern Munich 4 days ago, but Donadoni, who was suspended from the European tie, and Marco Simone, who wasn't used, they're in there to freshen the mix. Verona kick-off. In the strip of all blue, they defend the goal to the left in the first half. They've struck a better run of form over the second half of the season. But 13 games from the outset before their first league win condemned them to a season of real struggle. And really they will have to perform better than they have done at any time to take something from Milan here. Here's Fanna, though, trying to give them an encouraging start. Giacomo wearing number 10 for Verona. Fanna with that job wide on the right. The left-back is Fushedu, and he's a left-back in name, but he's a much wider player than that suggests. He's capable of coming forward, and he loves to shoot, as you've just seen. Simone. Milan haven't settled to their usual rhythm as yet. What they have got working for them, of course, is the well-drilled defensive system of Arrigo Sacchi. But stopping goals won't be enough for them today. They've got to win the game and expect Napoli to do likewise at Bologna, where Bologna are safe in the middle of the table, but do have an unbeaten home record that they'll be trying to protect. And then the season ends with Milan playing Bari in a home game which will, oddly enough, be played in Bologna. And Napoli at the same time play Lazio in Naples. But it's neck and neck between these two great Italian clubs, as Milan try to go about their work with more purpose now. Very nearly got Massaro in behind Verona then. Here's Rijkaard. Look at the space available to him. That's Tassotti on the run, and Gaudenzi had to play it safe. He was applauded by his goalkeeper for that. But it's given Milan the corner. And maybe an opportunity to take charge of this game, which has been pretty even so far. Headed back well by Simone. Oh, that was well played by Costa Curta to Tassotti. Van Basten! It was a very difficult ball to take and direct onto the target, but the way Milan put the move together would strike terror into Verona. There was plenty of skill, a lot of determination as well, and a high-class flick which didn't quite do the trick. Rijkaard really butting the ball wide to Donadoni. Van Basten. Well, he was caught by Sotomayor. Although he got to the ball first to try to help Donadoni weave a spell then. Donadoni, who supplies so much of the craft from Milan's midfield. Van Basten is okay. And a free kick to Milan. Evani is there. Tassotti has joined the wall to try and make a nuisance of himself. It goes to Simone. Oh, a goal! It went under Peruzzi, and Marco Simone has taken, he will hope, Milan a step closer towards the Italian League Championship. Well, it did swerve, it did dip, but Peruzzi, who made so many memorable saves in Milan, will surely fault himself for that. So really, for the first time, Milan can say it's starting to go to plan. And it took a free kick to find a way through, and Verona now have a free kick of their own in an attempt to beat Pazzagli and equalise. Fana over the ball. Fritz is the number 8, and I'm sure Pazzagli will be well aware of Puchedu's power in these situations. Indeed, Fritz has gone away. I don't think Verona are going to try and disguise this too much. Gutierrez and Gritti trying to form a little wall of their own in front of this line of Milan players. Fana waits, he wants to get the timing right here. Puchedu wants the power, he's got it! Pazzagli made the save look perhaps a little more spectacular than it needed to be. But there was plenty of venom in the shot. Well, over the first half of the season, there were times when, once Verona had gone a goal down, they rather caved in. They just can't do that today. They've got to continue the fight, whatever the situation in the match. Defeat, one would assume, looking at the other fixtures involving the struggling clubs, defeat would mean certain relegation for Verona. A draw, well, they might just wriggle out of it. Their last game, incidentally, away to another of the strugglers, Cesena. But here come Milan again. Van Basten, great run by Costa Curta. Oh, and he just slightly lost his footing, and that took the impetus of the burst away from him. Well, this was Puchedu's effort to try and emulate Simone. Maldini, in the end, having to play the ball when he was actually prostrate, but he managed to do it. Evani was trying to lift it a little longer then for Massaro to chase. Fritz, Gaudenzi to the right. Oh, that's beautifully delivered, he's onside. Gritti! And Pazzagli produced one of his best saves of the season to stop Verona equalising. Everything was right about the build-up for Verona. The header was solid, although it was ankle height, really. And Andrea Pazzagli kept it out somehow. Fritz. Another warning to Milan that the game is by no means over just because they're leading 1-0. Well, coming 2 minutes before half-time, that save by Pazzagli could assume huge significance. The goalkeeper has had his critics. He's been duelling with Giovanni Galli for the main job. For the most part, Pazzali has had it. Costa Curta. Well, Milan have one goal safely tucked away from Marco Simone's free kick, aided, one must say, by Angelo Peruzzi, who dived over the ball. But Verona have done enough since the goal to suggest there's plenty to come in the second half here. Milan start the second half, no substitutions, although Paolo Maldini walked in at the half-time whistle holding what looked like a damaged right shoulder. And he'll certainly be a player to keep an eye on in the early minutes of this second half. Milan leading by 1-0. Traditionally, they've done very well against Verona down the years. Just 5 Verona wins in 35 previous meetings. All Milan can do in all their competitions is just to keep on going and keep hoping for victory. Certainly the prospect of a playoff between Napoli and Milan is a mouth-watering one. You wouldn't get many domestic games where the stakes would be higher. Here's Massaro. Oh, that's a dive, and why did he need to do it? He got to the ball first, and I think Arrigo Sacchi is probably more angry with Massaro than with the referee. First touch took him away. There was a chance of a goal for Milan, and he chose to throw himself down. Well, everyone's got an opinion down there, but look at this. Ruud Gullit is getting ready for action, and the crowd know it now too. "11 months since he last played competitively for Milan. Everyone who loves the game wants to see him take part in the World Cup. And maybe now the signs are encouraging. Here's Fana. Here's the somewhat stricken Maldini. That crossed the line. The linesman was right there and let Milan go on. Ivani doesn't get it very far. Gutierrez met it for Verona. Then Tassotti. Well, Arrigo Sacchi feeling perhaps that his players, who have looked, in truth, a little on the weary side, might just need the injection of some inspiration. And Gullit's mere presence could supply that. Meanwhile, Verona have a corner. Well, Fana understandably annoyed that Ivani had got so close then. He was quite entitled to check. Well, he seemed to catch it cleanly, first of all, Pazzali, and then the ball rolled away as he hit the ground, and Verona were a little flat-footed because of the lateness of the mistake. It wasn't a straightforward fumble. And there is no margin for error here for Milan, really. Well, he's back. What a welcome sight for Milan followers, for Dutch supporters. And really, Ruud Gullit has charmed us all over the years. Simone goes off. His skill, allied to a captivating personality, makes him a wonderful footballing talent. But how much of it is on the rusty side now? Look at this. He's been bumped in the back straight away, gone into a tackle. He played a practice match earlier in the week and got a couple of goals. There was some hint that Arrigo Sacchi wanted to take him to West Germany to play against Bayern Munich, or at least to be on the bench. But all the speculation is over. Ruud Gullit is back in action. He was injured before that European Cup final. You might remember they rushed him back, and I remember talking to him on the pitch the night before the game, and he said, well, I'm not really fit, but I've got to give it a go. The match is so important. Well, he and Milan paid the price for that decision. A heavy price it's been. Oh, and it's a nervy moment from Costa Curta. And what's happening, I think, between defender and goalkeeper, Pasali is not really giving enough distance. It's the basic principle of a back pass. There should be room between the two. That's Pucheru with that willingness to shoot again. As expected, it's a very lively occasion here in Verona, but Milan still lead 1-0. Rijkaard. Here's Maldini. Now Gullit, well, that lovely feel for the ball taken on the chest. Fana tries to stop him. Gullit keeps the ball. The world watches with great interest. Oh, and Van Basten, he wants a penalty. It's the second appeal that Milan have had in the second half. Both answered in the negative by Rosario Lobello. And Arrigo Sacchi is absolutely livid with the referee. Sacchi is sent from the bench for disputing the penalty decision, or lack of it. And I can't recall this ever happening to him before. It's not totally uncommon around the Italian leagues, but Sacchi, normally one of the milder coaches in temperament, although I have detected this season much more animation from him on the bench. Well, he's talked his way into trouble. Well, Bagnoli's got plenty to say as well, but presumably not in the direction of the referee. Controversy here, and, well, with the security forces being mounted around Sacchi, I wonder what would happen, given the Alamao episode 2 weeks ago, had Sacchi been struck by something there in the way that Alamao was. Maldini is showing the signs of battle. I'm not sure that Arrigo Sacchi's properly allowed to stay there. Here's the corner from Fana. The header from Sotomayor! It's 1-1! An astonishing equaliser! And everything is going wrong for Milan here. No sooner has their coach been dismissed from the bench than their lead has been taken from them as well. In a match they would feel they have to win. Verona absolutely thrilled by this, and it's the Argentinian defender Victor Hugo Sotomayor who came in here with the most emphatic of headers. Massaro, they'll want to push him further forward now, I'm sure. The second highest scorer behind Van Basten. And I have to say, Van Basten in particular hasn't looked his normal fluent self. Rijkaard. Oh, here's Gullit. Brilliant first touch. Here's Van Basten now. Well, the man who's played for most of the season really was the more wayward of the two. In the circumstances, that was fantastic control from Gullit. The shot was a useful one, and it paved the way for Van Basten's chance. Well, Ruud Gullit, this is Bertozzi incidentally getting ready to come on for Verona, but Gullit has been such a lucky charm for his club sides down the years, and of course with Holland as well. Fana departs. That really the scene is set here for Gullit to win the game for Milan in their moment of need on his comeback day. And he so nearly did it a moment or two ago. And I would suppose, 8 times out of 10, Van Basten would have dealt with the rebound. There's a lot of head shaking going on now from Milan players. Rosario Labello makes his point to Colombo. He's already done that to Saki. The second substitute for Verona is Marino Magrin. You might remember him for a couple of years with Juventus. He comes on here for the limping Gaudenzi, but Magrin, to no one's envy, was signed when Platini retired and given that job in midfield, an impossible act to follow, although Magrin is comparable with Platini in one particular way. He's a master of free kicks, and Milan won't want to give away any around that penalty area now. Rijkaard has been having a dialogue with the referee that's led to a yellow card while that substitution was going on. Well, it's hard to keep up with events, the dramatic twists and turns in the second half. But the bottom line is that Milan are failing. Retaining the European Cup would be a wonderful thing for them, but their hearts are set on the league. Tassotti. It's a fairly straightforward ball in. Well, they protest the decision again. That could have gone either way, and it's gone Verona's way. And Rijkaard has spoken out of turn, and he must go off. 2 yellow cards. Frank Rijkaard is dismissed. Rijkaard, who was sent off earlier this year in the first leg of the Italian Cup final. He doesn't want to go, and he would be foolish now to come back and continue the debate. The red card has been shown. And Milan are finding themselves in a desperate plight now. Franco Baresi tries to get some sort of verdict about that decision, but I clearly saw Frank Rijkaard say something after what I felt was a decision that Milan perhaps had some right to protest against, in as much as any player does have a right to speak aggressively to a referee. And in Italy, there is no real rapport between officials and players. It is foolhardy to speak out of turn. Rijkaard will have been well aware of that, and he's paid the price. Well, it would be astonishing now, wouldn't it, if Milan could get in front again with 10 men, and without their master tactician on the bench, Arrigo Sacchi. Their supporters doing their best to lift the players who are bewildered by the turn of events, but have to accept responsibility for them. Now it is a decision in Milan's favour. Against Gutierrez, the defender with the boxer's face. Well, is this the moment perhaps for Gullit to write another page in the fairy story. He's there, along with Massaro, Baresi and Donadoni. Tassotti is the number 2, next to the end of the Verona wall. And it's played wide, cleverly by Baresi, and it lands behind. Well, he saw the opportunity then. They think it should be a corner too, and it's not going to be given, which won't help the Milan tempers. Van Basten has his say now. Well, Maldini was too tight and too tense to deal with it, really. He was so anxious to get the ball across the goal. Baresi. Time ticking away. Milan have played such delightful football for much of the season, but we shouldn't forget that they did start the season poorly, whereas Napoli were firing on all cylinders right from the off, even though Maradona was missing, you right remember, for those opening 4 games in their league programme. But the smart money on the second half of the season was on Milan. They not only have the talent and the teamwork, but also the resources, the biggest squad of players of any of the Italian First Division clubs. And my word, they've needed the extra bodies. And Van Basten, what's he doing? He's taking his shirt off. The referee is going to take more action here. I don't believe what I'm seeing. Milan are committing suicide. And on the day that one Dutch superstar comes back after almost a year out, 2 others are sent off. Well, it wasn't so much verbal this time, but Van Basten made his point absolutely clear when that was given against him. He took off his shirt, and Lobello produced the red card for the 2nd time to a player, the 3rd time to a representative of AC Milan. All this since half-time, and in the middle of it as well, a goal for Verona by Sotomayor that in a way has contributed to the confusion in the Milan ranks, because mistakenly they felt they were on their way to another win. And if they win it now with 9 men, shorn of Rijkaard and Van Basten, well, they'll never stop talking about it. And Milan try to get an offside with their depleted ranks. Here's Puchetto. Verona now suddenly in with a chance of a most improbable victory. Have they got the attitude to try and take it? They certainly need the extra point if they can possibly come up with it. And Pellegrini is onside. Here's Pellegrini. He scored! And Verona, astonishingly, are 2-1 in front. And the misery for Milan gets worse and worse. Was Scritti offside in the centre? Well, he wasn't trying to interfere with play. Pellegrini clipped it over Pazzaglia, who didn't put up a hand in defence. It wasn't too high over the goalkeeper, it seemed. It was as if he accepted the inevitable here. Davide Pellegrini, who's chased and harried, and there's another player gone. It's Costa Curta. After a confrontation with a linesman, and Milan, the World Club champions, are down to 8 men on a crucial day in the Italian league season. Well, we came here expecting a story. The story was that Ruud Gullit was going to make his comeback. He's done that, but it's been totally overshadowed by what has followed. But for Osvaldo Bagnoli, the sequence of events, bewildering though they might seem, are very, very positive indeed. This could keep Verona in the first division. They'll still have to do something in their last game away to Cesena. But really, the last rites were expected to be administered here to Verona, and Milan were expected to move on at the top of the table, possibly towards a playoff with Napoli. Well, that's not going to happen now, one would think. The odds certainly very long against it. Rosario Labello, the referee, has been the central figure. He's sent off 3 Milan players, 2 of them household names, Marco van Basten and Frank Rijkaard. Costa Curta went as well, and so too did Arrigo Sacchi. And Verona have won it 2-1 with 2 second-half goals, the header from Sotomayor, and then Pellegrini against 9 men. There's some unsavoury scenes amongst the Milan supporters. Pazzagli totally perplexed by it all.